Hello, class. I'm Dr. Dilmar. It's nice to meet you. Welcome to Business Math. We are about to spend 4 weeks together, actually a little bit longer than 4 weeks because of the Christmas and New Year's holiday, but this is a 4 week class. We're about to spend those 4 weeks together as you engage with business math. I see a couple of you have already started logging in. That's great because the class did officially start today. I did host an optional meeting this morning. I know sometimes with work schedules, it's not always easy for students to be able to all attend at the same time. That's okay. And especially with it being the day before Christmas Eve, I know that that might have been a challenge for you. And so therefore, what I'm going to do is just run through the material that I feel like is very important for you and I to share and look over together as we start this class. Some of this you may hear from other classes, and that's okay. It doesn't hurt to repeat some of it, such as when we go through some of the grading policies and core values. I will try to freshen it up though for you and make some real world connections to our class. Most importantly, we'll go over the course and what you should expect and how to be successful, because what we all want is to be active parts of our learning community together, to learn, and for you to end the class successfully. So we'll go over all of those things, just item by item. What I would encourage you to do, since this is a recording, is to jot down any questions you might have, and just remember that you may have a question that others might have as well. So shoot me a message and let me know, and we'll get that answered for you and perhaps the entire class. I have taken what questions others have asked in the past and used that to create this recording. So hopefully we get, if not all, most of your questions answered. So the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to start with the core values in the syllabus. I do want you to keep attending to the video and listen to especially the syllabus part at the end. But what I'd like to do first is jump right into the content and how the class is laid out, because those are some of the important tasks that you need to get started on immediately. This is a 4-week class, and like I said, we do have the holiday of Christmas and New Year's, but you have a couple of due dates coming up, and it's important for me to walk through those due dates with you. So what you're looking at is the student preview. So I'm looking at what you would see when you log into the class, and I'm on the content section. So this is what I call kind of the heart of the class, because this is where the meat or the core of the class lie as far as in what you will be doing. In the content section, you'll see an introduction folder, and we're actually going to look at that here shortly. And then 4 units. So 4 units, 1 per week. But let's look at the introduction folder first, because that's where you have some immediate due dates. You'll notice if you haven't used this platform before, you'll notice that each folder has a little lip or an open button here at the bottom right, and you can just see where that opens and closes. And when you open it, there's some different tasks that you have to complete in this folder. Each of these tasks will not open because they're progressive unless you complete the one before it. So, for example, when you go to course information, you have to click on course information and scroll up and down to read it, and then X out of it before the green check mark appears and allows you to go to the next section. And this is important because the graded items are at the end of this, and you can't get to it unless you've opened each of these items. So I'm sure you're all thrilled to read about me. There's my picture and my biography. So I'll just put that there for you. You can see, and I'll just scroll up and down on that. But you can see that that makes the check button. And then you'll get to the syllabus acknowledgement, and the integrity pledge, and you'll see that those are due by the 27th at midnight. And so the one thing that I do encourage you to do is go ahead and knock that out so you don't have to worry about it. Also, I'm sure all of you have heard about attendance requirements. I'm sure when you're dealing with the registrar and things of that nature, they tell you about how to get attendance. And for an asynchronous class, which is what we're in, which is where we're not online together, asynchronous means you're doing the work at different times and we're not meeting live or in person or all at once. attendance. That means that you still have to have a way to have attendance, and attendance is collected by you logging in and completing an assignment. And so these introduction assignments are actually a great way to have you counted as present in the course so you won't get dropped. Anytime that you complete an assignment in the class, whether it's a discussion board post or one of your routine assignments, that's going to count your attendance. And I always tell students, of course we want you to log in every day and complete assignments every other day or so, but for sure, make sure that you don't get past that 5-day mark, or you might start getting some panic messages from the school, because it's actually a federal law that we have to make sure that you're logging in and participating to allow you to stay in class. So I know that there's like a 14-day rule and some 7-day things, but for sure, I would say we stay within safely that 5-day mark, which is really not asking for a lot, because if you think about it, 5 days is a whole lot of a 4-week class, and we don't want you to get behind anyway. Okay, so we've talked about the initial assignments that's in the introduction tab. Let's speak really quickly about, let's speak about how the different units of instruction are set up and what you'll be doing from week to week. Now, I will share with you that I'll post announcements several times a week, and we'll message back and forth. I'll be checking in on you just to be sure everybody's on the same page, but I want you to feel confident getting started. So if you have questions that come up later on, just know you're not by yourself. But how are these 4 units of instruction set up? Well, let's open up the first one to see, and each one are set up pretty identical. So each week you have a discussion board for which you're going to post 1 initial post and 2 replies, and all of that needs to be posted by the due date. The only thing that I ask you to do is to please make sure that you don't wait to the last minute, because that's kind of annoying to your classmates if they're trying to engage and post replies and then you're dragging your heels waiting till the last minute. So even though it's not due technically until the end of the week of those 7 days, you definitely want to make sure that you are, of course, getting it done before the end of that 7th day, but that you're posting ahead of time so that you can engage in that learning community. Plus, it's a great way for you to exchange ideas. So each discussion board each week is 1 initial post and 2 replies. And the instructions are within the discussion board itself. So this discussion board and all of the others, 1 per week, 4 total, that's completed in Blackboard itself. So this is a Blackboard class. This platform that we're in is Blackboard. You also have assignments in what we call McGraw-Hill. So McGraw-Hill is your online textbook. You do not need to pay for this. It's linked to our class. You'll be able to complete assignments in McGraw-Hill through what I call convenience links. So, for example, Chapter 1, that's where you read Chapter 1 in your online textbook. Or let's say Chapter 5, you would read Chapter 5. Maybe here, Chapter 22 is a handbook or like a worksheet that's online. All of this is in McGraw-Hill. These links will take you directly into the McGraw-Hill class site. What I will let you know is that anything that's here, you do complete, but you don't have to click on each convenience link to complete the assignment. Once you're in McGraw-Hill, there'll be a list of assignments that you've been assigned in that platform. You can feel free to complete those assignments directly from the textbook. The textbook is set up for you to have resources to include reading of chapters and assignments, and so you can stay there in that website of McGraw-Hill and complete the assignments. This link simply just takes you directly to that thing that's assigned so that you can get directly there. The only thing to note is that the gradebook in McGraw-Hill has no bearing on the class. Your gradebook, at the top you'll see me circling gradebook, your gradebook is in Blackboard. So you have discussion boards that are completed in Blackboard, and then you have assignments that are completed in McGraw-Hill, but all your grades are in Blackboard. So they talk to each other. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, you can shoot me a message. And then Unit 2 is set up exactly the same. The only thing that I'll show you here in Unit 2, and actually you'll see this in Unit 1 in about an hour or so, is the lecture material. So I have a lecture link and the PowerPoint notes and a Word document for the notes from the lecture from Unit 2. So for each unit, you'll have at least one lecture. And what I like to do is, because I know some people might need to process things more slowly, you might want to print things out to have it in front of you. You may like PowerPoint or you might like a Word document. So I try to provide the notes in a variety of ways. So one is a lecture video, and then I take those materials and I upload them as a PowerPoint and as a Word document. Generally, that's what I do every week for your lectures. And this just augments the material that you get from McGraw-Hill and your discussion boards. And that's how every single unit will be set up. And then Unit 3 and Unit 4, exactly the same. One thing to note is I will post in your discussion boards as well. When you reply to me, as long as you have a thorough response, just like you would to a student, then that response to me counts as one of your replies. What is a thorough response? Here's what I want everybody to know. It's super, super important. When you write a discussion board, whether it's your initial post or your replies, first of all, please don't use AI. I will be able to tell, the computer will be able to tell. It just doesn't look good because you don't need AI. Really, this is more about you participating and your ideas and your thoughts. And honestly, the time that it takes you to generate something in AI and then maybe massage it to make it your own, you really could have just written the ideas yourself. This is not so complex that you need AI to answer the discussions. They're really meant to be a personal response where you have that tone and inflection and natural variation of your voice. So please know that as long as you write the discussion board yourself and you have 2 replies that you wrote, and they're connected to the material, not just like quote unquote, great job, I agree. Something that maybe makes us think or gives us a counter argument or thought, some way that you say, maybe I noticed this, or I wondered, or I also made a connection, or did you also see in the materials? When you're having that discourse back and forth in your discussion board, that's what really makes a great discussion board post or for your initial or your replies. So I hope that makes sense. Be thorough, be natural, connect it to the material, have a conversation. And you only have 4 of these, so I really have confidence that you guys will do this, right? Okay. So we've talked about the heartbeat of the class, the content, right? This is your 4 units of study for the 4 weeks. You're going to attend to your due dates. You'll let me know if you're having any issues. If you want to go directly to the discussions, you can click here on the discussion board tab. If you want to see your grades, you'll go there. If you want to send me a message, you can go here. I also put my phone number on everything so you can text me. And so we can text or message, whichever one is more convenient. My goal is to simply make you feel no stress for this class and that you complete it successfully. And then the other really important part is the announcement. So I just wanted to show you this. So you have our welcome announcement that I posted. I actually posted it a few days ago. I reposted it this morning just to make sure everybody got to see that. And then we have a brand new Director of Online Education, Dr. Toot. And she is so excited to work with each of you guys. She had a brief introduction and her information that she posted here for you in the class. So make sure you read that. If you haven't had a chance to meet her yet, or if you see, if you wanted to shoot her a message, I'm sure that she'll be interacting with you along the way. So just making sure you understood that you have a new Director of Online Education, and that's her name. So take a moment to read that announcement. Okay, I hope you're feeling pretty good about this class because you're probably thinking, okay, I can do this, right? 4 discussion boards. I log into McGraw every week. I do my McGraw work. I've got this. Okay. So let's go and just talk about the framework and the parameters, some foundations for our class. I'm going to go back to content and I'm going to open, see my little lip down here, the content tab. And we left off with the about your instructor. We're actually going to go to the syllabus. So I'm going to open that for us. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now, of course, I'm not going to read line by line, but I do want to bring your attention to some important components of this syllabus. You noticed me use the word asynchronous earlier. That's the visual of that if you wanted to see how to spell it. A little bit about our course. So what are you going to get out of this class? I saw already in some of the initial discussion boards that people were talking about wanting to maybe open a business one day or having practical application skills. You're definitely going to get that in this class. And you can see some of those outcomes. So I encourage you to read through this. My teaching strategies, of course, this is online and you have your McGraw activities. We use a variety of methods. Most importantly, you let me know if you need anything, okay? I have my phone number there. You can text me. I'm going to stay in contact with you. You and I are tied at the hip and communicate with each other. You're going to do your due diligence and make sure that you calendar your time out. You're going to keep up with your schoolwork, and I'm going to be there to support you. And as a partner, you and I are going to help you complete this class successfully. I mentioned the book. That's the online book that's directly connected through Blackboard. So you just click on the link, follow along, and I generally don't have too many people have issues with that, but you let me know if you do. The grading scale is pretty typical class to class. So if you're taking other classes or if not, and this is your first time, welcome. I'm glad to have you a part of our family at the school. And this is a grading scale, right? So everybody's shooting for a 90 to a 100, and there's no reason you should not be able to make an A in this class. This class is really to lay some foundational skills, help you kind of cement some of those things that maybe you haven't freshened up on in a while, or maybe you haven't ever seen them, and it just is some foundational skills that will help you be successful in future classes. So I really fully expect everyone to be able to make an A in this class. I always say this class is about building some concrete skills, improving your what we call math fluency. So fluency is when you're using math just like reading and you're becoming more fluent with that, and building your confidence, right? So this is what all of the different things on your transcript will mean. So you would, of course, want to pass. Here's how the course is set up. So you'll see that there's discussions, and then within McGraw, you've got reading, assignments, and quizzes. So your McGraw-Hill work is set up into either reading of chapters, completing of what I call a worksheet or an assignment, and then you've got quizzes along the way as well. And you'll see how those divide up. So your discussions count for 25% of your grade. Do you remember how many there are? Yes. If you said 4, you're correct. So 4 discussions count for 25% of your grade. That's why it's really important to maybe calendar your time, set a reminder for yourself to go in and post your initial and your 2 replies on a weekly basis. And do you remember, if you reply to me with a substantial reply, that counts as well as one of your replies. Of course, you have to make a C, a 70 to pass, but we do not want anybody making C's in this class. We're all going to shoot for an A or a B. And there's homework, right? Pretty much all your work is homework. So that's the great thing, is you get to kind of maneuver life around whether you wake up early, stay up late, maybe sacrifice going to the movies or something fun to complete your work. But that's pretty much what that means. Class attendance, I hit on that earlier. Please make sure that you log in. It's only a 4-week class. You've got to stay current. In a perfect world, you're logging in every day, completing assignments at least every other day, and for sure not going past 5 days. I don't really do a lot of extra credit. The classwork is already there, and if you're not doing the classwork, then I don't want to give you more or different. I just want you to do the work that's there. If you find yourself having issues, you and I need to communicate, because I know you want to complete this class, and no matter what life throws at you, I know that you can. So you just reach out to me, and together we'll make it happen. There is remediation just before I go into late assignments. There is remediation. So here's what's going to happen. Along the way, I'll be giving you reminders. You'll check in with me. We'll make sure that you get all of your work completed. If you find that you need to run late on something, you'll let me know and we'll have a conversation. If you complete the class and grades are turned in and you haven't finished the class, and you have lots of missing work, so you're failing, you can turn in some of the missing work or assignments that I give you for what we call remediation. But unfortunately, that means you can only get a 70, highest grade, a C, in the class. So we really don't want you to go through remediation. We really want you to complete the assignments during that 4-week block. So if you get to that point, there is a little bit of a safety net, but you just really don't want to spend all of this time in a class and then end up only with a C, especially in a class that you're fully capable of making an A. And so with late assignments, let's stay connected. For integrity, so I'll give you a minute to read this. If you need, you can pause the video. And here's why I want you to read this. I want you to read integrity, and I want you to read plagiarism, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about what that means in this class. So again, if you need to pause the video and then hit play, great, you can do that. Okay, here's the thing. AI is pretty much the big sticking point for everybody right now. We all know it's growing and growing exponentially in its use. It's up to you to exude that integrity, to not use, for example, AI in your discussion board post because I'm asking you not to, right? Will the computer catch it? Will I catch it? Maybe, probably, sometimes. Do you want to even have that conversation? I mean, that's really where integrity comes in this class, where it's applicable here. We don't want you taking someone else's discussion board post, putting it into AI and generating your own. We don't want you copying somebody else's work. Doesn't feel good to the other student, and honestly, it won't feel good for you either. Again, there's nothing in this class that you need AI for, so I'm hoping that you display that integrity by avoiding it. That's a real world application for this class, and I'm sure you can think of lots of other ways that a person could display integrity in an online setting. And I'm sure you'll have some classes along the way where you may have to go in and complete labs and things of that nature. So I encourage you to really reflect on integrity and how that is one of our core values. Okay, so what's our mission? Our mission is to educate you, to help provide you what you need in these areas of allied health and veterinarian, whatever your specialty is going to be, to help you with your skills that match the industry needs. So we're trying to prepare you. And so all of those practical skills, being able to transfer those skills into real world, quote unquote, and being able to help you as a developing employee, a manager, a leader, a business owner, all of that is really important for our program. And we're a partner in that together. I love to say that we're in the learning community together, and I hope that you feel that as well. And there's your core values: integrity, creativity, ambition, and teamwork. I hope you hear me talk about teamwork. That's how I talk about it with the learning community. I know you have that ambition, and that you'll go on to do really great things. So I'm just happy to be a part of that journey with you, and I can't wait for the next 4 weeks so I can see all of you complete this class successfully. I'll post this video along with my cell phone number so you can text me. You'll also start to see the lecture videos being posted for Unit 1 and then over the next couple of weeks, and we'll stay in touch. Please make sure you attend to those due dates, and I hope you all have a great holiday season, and I wish you peace and joy, happiness, and some fun. I'll talk to you later. Bye.